What, dude? Aren't you excited? Gus is returning.
Yeah, and you don't think that's fishy, man? You heard how he felt about Solo stuff, and look where he told us to go. This looks like a set out of Vampire the Masquerade.
Good evening. My fellow commentators, I apologize for disrupting any business or interfering with any prior engagements you may have had this evening.
It's unfortunate that the affair that gathers us together tonight is a troubling one. We are here because the common decency that binds our community, the civility which is the fabric of our discourse and socialization, has been broken. As a veteran commentator, I understand how scenarios can grant or deny breaches of interpersonal privacy. Many interactions occur between people in our sprawling social circles, and many of which demand permission of some sort to be publicly exposed. However, the accused that will be featured tonight was not refused permission. Indeed, that necessary permission was never sought at all. The video script of mine was written shortly after a second offense was performed by the accused. It pains me to announce the sentence as, up to recently I considered the accused a friend and upstanding commentator. But as some of you may presume, the penalty for this transgression is being told off. Know that I am no more adjudicator than I am a servant to the well-being of us all. Let tonight's video serve as a reminder to our community that we must adhere to the formalities and respects that stabilize our disputes, lest we fall out like the ranters. Forgive me, Hiten. Let the penalty commence. Theatrical homage aside, I want to also add that I'm not really supposed to be here since I only want to do co-ops and cameos now. However, Hiten has forced my hand to speak up against a video of hers at length. Why? Because the last person I ever expected to pull this was someone I just co-oped with. You want to know how much it's screwing with me to see a lady I called a pal get away with things that she should not have gotten away with? Yeah, that's why I thought I was best suited to step in here. So let's explain what's up. Far as I can tell, this is a follow-up to Hiten calling out someone who assumed Penegrin was telling the truth about her false Spoctor allegations. As it seems, Fran here gossiped a bit to make herself look better after her call-outs before she formally resolved the conflict with Spoctor himself. Although I haven't been fully versed in this controversy before now, I think I've seen well enough to see big problems with this. After all, something like this didn't stop me when I noticed Lily Pete. So let us begin proper.
I chased electron orbits. You think I can't find you?
So I posted the thumbnail for the video the night before the commentary, something I try to do regularly, something I did with this video. Not too long afterwards, I get DMs from someone. When I wake up, your video has mysteriously disappeared.
Hold up. What is this? If I didn't know any better, I'd assume the entire premise of this video was discussing shit from private messages and group conversations. Hiten, did you not attend lecture when Professor Anyone advised against leaking personal discussions like this? I will confess there are select circumstances to bust private stuff wide open, but I said select circumstances. Considering only 1 out of the 5 times in which you brought up things that Fran said was from a public avenue, you're really playing with fire here. Let me just be real, if you in the audience feel primed for this to get dodgy, I know the feeling. I felt like that when I first saw this. And spoilers, but the following is the only DM or group message here with an obscured name. So, other people are good to get their conversations leaked in full, but this user got a little privacy protection? Wait. I noticed something fishy about this whole deal. Let's compare this to a screenshot of Twitter DMs just like this from a sports website. Apparently this entails a casual conversation sample from a sportscaster, I believe? Anyways, what's the difference between these two? Well, the other person's name and the icon of the other profile are missing. They aren't even marked over, they're just gone. What if this entire DM was staged? Think about it. The writing styles and readability are almost the exact same from Hiten and the unknown person, and think about how it's framed in the video. The DM happens and then shockingly the video gets removed when Hiten looks away. It's the perfect setup to claim cowardice on Fran's behalf. But that is a lot of supposition that I could easily be wrong about. For example, I noticed this little crease here under where the name would be, and that implies that Hiten took a JPEG of the DM and went whoop to maintain privacy just like that.
While this could also be used for hoaxing, it could also just be a better way of obscuring details without a big old blob on the screen. However, the fact that I could even propose this conspiracy theory demonstrates something important. At best, you're showing double standards concerning the privacy of direct messages and group conversations later in this video. At worst, you omitted details to the point where it looks like you faked something to up the drama value. Come on, I may be late to this drama, but I was not born yesterday. You can see why this looks a little fishy.
Now, am I saying that this person alerted you to the fact that I was making a video on you, so you covered your ass and ran away? Am I saying you did the same thing when Ponder said your community rant was material? Am I calling you a cowardly, petulant child? I mean, obviously, right?
And for that matter, look at this. You see how quickly she assumed someone talking to her like this involved Fran? While this could be explained by Hiten noticing a simple pattern and being onto something after the video was taken down, it also makes it look a little suspiciously theatrical on Heten's behalf. Once again, you're kind of validating an ill-conceived hypothesis about you and this whole situation. And if you think I'm going a little too hard about this, I'm gonna spoil something for you. There's a much more damning example of this coming up, so I could be onto something here.
Okay, so now my video's out, and clearly you didn't appreciate it. That being said, I wish you would have come to me directly about it instead of crying to Ponder about her comment. Now, I'm assuming it's because Ponder is the destructive force that she is, but... sloppy. Now you have no excuse for sneaking around my salty ass when you could have just confronted me directly. So far, the only person to have the spine to come talk to me when I come for them is Bug Horse, and I didn't even commentate on him, so make what you want out of that tragic fact.
Actually, perhaps I shouldn't be too mad about this. From what I understand, this seemed to be involving a situation where Fran talks some shit in Heaton's absence, or something like that, so maybe I could give this a pass. And then Gwis saw his forgiving attitude become a mistake in 3, 2...
So now Ponder's video is out, and I see you in your Discord.
Never mind then, because I don't know about you, but you know what doesn't make me feel like I could settle something directly with a respectable opponent a la casual discourse? Bringing up more confidential conversations and making me feel unsafe to even DM with certain people. And Hiten, don't even tell me that you weren't framing your jab like that. I've seen coyotes with less stalk and chase behaviors than you creeping on Fran. And yes, this behavior of yours may have been after you witnessed the things you discussed in this video. But regardless, this creepy behavior of yours retroactively destroys your angle of, you could have totally brought this up to me. Seeing how you turned out now, I can totally understand her finding that direct communication with you would be a losing proposition. And I mean a less deserved L compared to circulating a bogus sexual allegation and regretting it.
I love the idea that you're not nearly as bad as the others who perpetuated the drama, yet here you are, playing victim like Penegrin did. Cry me a fucking river and then dunk your head in it. Maybe the crocodile tears will wash off. I got commentated on too. I had an actual panic attack because I have a diagnosed medical disorder.
What? I'm gonna give you 6 seconds to elaborate on this. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and let you explain yourself to show that this isn't what I think it is.
I was shaking through watching that fucking video, and you know what? I took Luxter's criticism. You have
Not good enough. So I decided to look something up since I thought it was fishy how you wrote off a teenager of all people having an emotional outburst, and look what I found! A panic attack happens because of heightened anxiety. Anyone can have a panic attack, but this is also a hallmark symptom of panic disorder. It can lead to rapid heartbeat, rapid breathing, sweating, shaking, and other symptoms. In people who do not have an anxiety disorder, a panic attack can happen if an event triggers anxiety. How interesting. Thank you, registered nurse Rachel Nall. Now, I could argue how sheer regret here would make some anxiety, since we've got a previously and frankly stubborn teenager who spread someone else's heinous lies and got told for it. But then again, I could be reading the situation incorrectly, since I did have to pick up the pieces a lot for context. But what I can say for certain is your line of reasoning is straight up toxic bullshit in terms of psychology. Because guess who else had an undiagnosed freakout before? The long and skinny of my story is that I once narrowly avoided a car crash from a big driving mistake on my behalf. Luckily, no one was hurt and there was no crash, but I knew right then that one wrong move would have meant my gruesome death from a head-on collision into my vehicle. It drove me laughing mad in my car. No, I was cackling in terror on my drive home. It was bad. And according to your rhetoric, me grappling with my own uncontrollable mortality due to my critical mistake
could have been written off as illegitimate pity-mongering. Try me.
You have no fucking excuse to hide behind a shield of "I'm having an anxiety attack" when you committed a fucking crime, ruined a peer's reputation, and then tried to walk it halfway back. Because you're not sorry, are you? According to your own words out of your own dong slopper, you stand by everything you said in that video, but removed it for damage control. Do you know what that means? It means you're still fair game, and it means that until you actually apologize, you're just as guilty as Pentagrin in stories. You're the same festering pond scum at the top of the abandoned well that this drama has turned into.
Oh, hold up now. From what I've heard here, Fran's big misdeed was spreading the Spoctor fucked up spiel, and then saying how it was misinformation, albeit through a highly flawed apology. Right? You're comparing that to Pentagrin and stories? Weren't they the two people that fabricated evidence against Spoctor and intentionally made the whole shitstorm up? Don't get me wrong, spreading a smear campaign when Fran didn't seem to know better, or know better on how to handle the situation, is still pretty bad. No doubt she fucked up hard. But you know what equating that behavior to creating said smear campaign would be? It would be the same breed of sensationalistic fervor that makes false sexual allegations such a problem to begin with. You had to actually sit here and think, no, of course, the two situations aren't quite on the same level, I'm good at justice. And somehow Fran is the only girl with a faulty moral compass.
I'm sure a few of you still have sympathy for this little girl while she sits in her corner with her daytime soap opera performance, but don't. When Junkie questioned her out of genuine concern, she said, "Oh no, I'm fine."
And what do we have here? Junkie implicated in leaking Fran's shit? Wow, I mean, if he was really guilty, I would have expected that you obscure his alias too. That's what I would have said if I was a basic bitch. Because frankly, I think that Junkie's PMs with Fran were supposed to make it into a video. Oh sure, you say you have Junkie's permission to show these here, but I don't believe you. At all. You know why? Because there's literally no reason for Junkie in his right mind to be on board with this. The first time I ever heard of the guy was him getting involved with bullshit drama from other ranters left and right. Not to mention Junkie was there being really goddamn considerate to Fran initially. You mean to tell me that he pulled an R Nice Guys 180 and allowed you to just link PMs in a public video? That he'd intentionally get involved with this spicy drama after he extended an olive branch to Fran? Bullshit. But GWS, you may be asking, then how would Hiten have gotten her hands on such a set of screenshots? Well, I don't have many details there, but I have some good guesses. The only options that would make sense to me would be Discord DMs between friends or putting these DM screenshots into the vent server of a small private Discord server. The screenshot of the DMs were done through Discord, and I believe the second option out of the two Discord options sounds more probable. Given that something like this is most likely the case, I would not chastise Junkie for this. Venting about how someone acts in an isolated little server is much different than broadcasting such conversations publicly. Word does spread about how people act and all, but it usually happens between friends and doesn't happen with a full-on leak. Furthermore, Junkie would have had better regards for privacy by doing this, unlike what Hiten has done. And I would definitely believe that considering Junkie's online background, along with something else. Hiten already has a record of disclosing more private conversations without so much as asking permission. I've noticed her doing so under minimal provocation from this video alone with Fran.
The accused that sits before you tonight was not refused permission. Indeed, my permission was never sought at all.
But wait a minute, you may also be asking. Then how do you explain this comment here where Junkie seemed oddly complacent with the leaking? That's a good question, which I have two important answers for. First off, let's be honest. A lot of people got way too hyped up and allowed things in this video to slide. Who's to say Junkie didn't go with the flow here? But even then, I don't find that too likely compared to the second explanation. The more likely option of why he seemed complacent is that Junkie didn't want to get onto Heten's case to avoid further drama in this already dodgy situation. I mean, didn't Spoctor initially plead guilty to his accusations when he mitigated damage to his innocent reputation because he was in no position to speak out until later? Given Junkie's online background, a similar outcome makes sense. So that's how it went down, right, Hiten? Because unlike my prior notion about you participating in foul play, I'm certain about this one being true. Cool Phelps, web traffic. What was the original point again?
She said, "Oh no, I'm fine." So let's add faking an anxiety disorder to the list of shit Fran is guilty of.
What the? Okay, I think we're hitting that point. You might not get what I mean at first, but I'm getting massive deja vu. This is the part of scripting where I forget I previously brought up something, like occasional panic attacks without full disorders, see my subject mention something flawed about it a second time, remember that I already disputed it after half a second, and now sit here frustrated. Oh god, I did not miss this part of commentating. But you know what? I'm not even close to done with this point. Let's say that an anxiety-driven panic attack could have been considered a disorder somehow, and she self-diagnosed for it. You're not assuming her episode didn't subside after a moment or anything? If these two messages happened in the same day, look, we've got an hour-and-a-half difference between them. Or, better yet, you think the anxiety is the bullshit, and not the stubborn young person trying not to show weakness? Oh wait, I remember. Benefit of the doubt is for people that you don't have unrestrained emotions towards. Good lord.
Hey, you know, while we're here, let's drag out this other thing she said to Junkie. My reputation is fine. Because that's what this is about, right? Your reputation, not the innocent boy that's still receiving comments about him sexually assaulting people. Not the same kid who was fucking doxxed because of the shit you pulled, and not the person that's going to...
Oh ho ho, you're not getting away with that. You know that I almost didn't think about this detail at first, and I nearly skipped it? Well, guess what? I thought that sounded a little too inflammatory to be true, so I searched around for an acquaintance on Discord that was well versed in Spoctor-related drama. I even had to go through multiple accounts of this to find the most reliable explanation. And don't worry, I won't disclose the identities of my informants, because I think Hiten has already done that enough. The most reliable account I had actually did recall an incident where Spoctor was almost doxxed following the false claims. Almost, however, as in a sock puppet account on Twitter gave personal details before it was reported and the information didn't spread. Where this gets interesting is that apparently nobody knows who the perp actually is. There may have been one suspect involved, but the name of that suspect was not revealed. Now, maybe I'm just throwing darts in the dark here, but I'm pretty fucking certain I would know if Fran was actually involved with that incident, based on what I was told. But I'll tell you what I didn't need a second opinion on. Knowing how you got away with outright lying about Fran. I know you tried to sneak that by thanks to your just as bad as Penna Stories deal.
And not the person that's going to have to follow this for the rest of the foreseeable future, if not forever, because of what you contributed to.
But remind me, what fallacy would that remind you of? Guilt by association on steroids? Ooh, sloppy sloppy.
No, it's about you. All right, Fran. Let's make it about you. You are a miserable, pathetic child that is incapable of any kind of empathy if the things I'm seeing are to be believed.
Yeah, funny thing about calling her that in this context? With the mature content advisories on numerous websites and the age of consent laws for a shockingly small number of states in the US, is this really accurate? Fran could easily be considered a child in terms of sexual conduct. And no, my point isn't gonna be to straight up coddle Fran. The last thing you want to illustrate to someone like her is how horrendous lies like the ones about Spoctor are no big deal, because that very much is a big deal. But you're expecting a lot for the growth of someone who's likely halfway through high school. Because you want to know who was really a judgmental, maladjusted, and restrained yuppie about other sexuality at 16? Me. Now granted, I didn't get involved with an egregious smear campaign like Fran did, but I did target and criticize fetish art very unfairly. I even did so with commission artists and acted like they were also accountable for the lewd ideas they were given. Hell, I made rules exclusive to critiquing fetish art. That is unfair almost by definition. And by the way, don't excuse it by saying it wasn't as bad as Fran, because that's how I got away with it for so long. Also, the shit I did wasn't a trend I followed. My prudence was all me. And with Chimp Off, it took roughly 6 years to come to terms with my mistakes and make up for what I've done. And yet you stand here as the seasoned woman you are and pull this shit with Fran as if she's nearly unredeemable? No, please, call her mouth something like a dong slobber again.
According to your own words out of your own dong slopper.
When she's not even legal in a good number of places. Then tell me how you aren't holding her to high standards for her age.
You are either totally detached from reality or a blithering idiot, and since I'm being candid this time, I'm leaning towards both. You are a lying, duplicitous backstabber who can't be trusted as far as she can be thrown. You are a disgraceful coward who runs scared at the mere whisper of conflict, rather than facing up to your mistakes like you have some facsimile of a spine. Worst of all of it, though, you did all of this because you're a petty, manipulative bitch. What you did was fucking illegal.
I know this for a fact. You don't like how I act. You claim I'm selling crack. Will you be doing that? I'd rather say see ya, cause I would never be ya. Be ya officer, you wicked overseer.
You walked all over a good guy's reputation because, God forbid, someone who works harder than you, makes better content than you, and is more popular than you had the audacity to let you know it. You can go cry in your Discord server now because you don't have a video to delete. I hope not, because you have a video to make and or an apology to write.
So is that what this is about? Because I think I understand what's going on here. You backed Fran into a corner and strong-armed a better apology out of her. Look at how you acted when a better resolution was reached immediately afterwards. Not even by the next day. For someone who leaked the shit out of Fran's DMs and talked a lot of shit to an impressionable teen, you sure lightened up when she went for more conflict resolution. But wait a second. You didn't actually become more kind about this in the aftermath, did you? You know as well as I do that going about fucking time doesn't look good on you after what you've been pulling. And even at that point, you were still insisting about how it had to be done by saying, I wish this didn't feel necessary. Yeah, while you were feeling like that was necessary, I'm thinking that making a video about hounding a girl for personal antics more than TMZ maybe wasn't so necessary.
It's almost like when people make accusations about you, it's sort of hard to run from, isn't it?
Well, allow us to test that principle with the detective work I've pulled. Let's see if you can act well on principle then. Final thoughts time. Hiten, you have greatly disappointed me with your behavior here. I was your friend, and what do you start acting like 2.5 weeks after we featured in our co-op? A downright dubious, double-dealing, drama-prone, diatribe-fueled despot waiting to get dunked. Or better yet, a confrontational, confidentiality-breaching, conundrum-like corn on the foot of the commentary community. And I haven't even dropped the big surprise. Remember when I said she had a second offense of breaching confidentiality before I started scripting? Did you assume I meant Junkie was the second and Fran was the first offense? No, I lumped that whole video as a first offense. I was talking about this. Tell me, Hiten, where exactly did you hear Ryan say that insult about you? Since we've been going all out making private beef into public problems, let's make this about you. Huh, more deja vu. But you know where I remember you getting that info? I remember about a person that was friends with both of you mentioned exactly what Mills Kohai had said about you in a separate Discord room. And you, in all your wisdom, decided to take that dispute to Twitter in response to an otherwise innocuous status update. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Mutual did not intend for you to bring that spat out to the public. Say, did you also try to bully an apology out of Ryan? And since you've shown how much you like to go for he said she said bullshit through this, I'll tell you right now that I'm not just doing this because of him. This is pure karma. Because I knew I had to step in when I saw you pulling this kind of thing on not one occasion, but on multiple occasions. I knew it wasn't just me getting uncomfortable at that point. That's also why I didn't believe you about the Junkie claim, and it's why I never consulted you about this before now, Hiten. You think I could trust you with direct messages and private conversation of any kind after this? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that's it, Hiten. Because of how you've presented yourself as a commentator, and even as a person, our future cooperation is through. I don't know where this will leave our recent co-op. You could delete it as you please, or leave it as a timepiece for better days. Either way, it's in your hands, and I really don't care anymore. Now, if you'll excuse me, my Freedom Trail friends are waiting for me. I've spent way too much time away from them by being involved in this. Good evening. Damn, dude. This is fun. Oh, I want to go back to the Freedom Trail now.